We're going to talk about catching thieves and stopping theft with the Aldelo Express blind balancing program. I don't know if you know about this one. This was maybe one that's a surprise to you, but it is a very, very good way of stopping theft or catching a thief. It works really, really well. So let's do a definition. And it's just forcing a cashier or server to balance their till by denomination without them knowing what should be in the till. That's why it's a blind balancing situation. They don't know how much they should have. The system will know that, but as they count their denominations of currency, it will then do the math and show them their over and shortages. This has been around since the 1980s. It's not new. It was in cash registers a long time ago, and it's now migrated to some point of sale systems. Not all of them have this, but we certainly do, so we should take advantage of it. It was created to stop cashier and bartender theft. And as you know, there's some thieves out there, absolute thieves. And this will help identify that and shut it down. So does it work? Oh, heck yeah, it does. I've caught thieves with this. So absolutely it works. And we're going to talk about how to do that and how to use it to catch those thieves. So how does it work? Well, the cashier counts their beginning till by denomination. The way the Aldelo system works is that you just count how many pieces of material, how many pieces of money you have. So you count how many pennies, how many nickels, dimes, quarters, ones, fives, tens, 20s. You don't count like tens. You don't go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. You just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You count the number of pieces of that money, and then the system will do the math. So we figured we made it a little simpler than just counting how much money is there. You simply just have to count how many pieces of money are there. I hope that makes sense. We'll show you when we start doing the example of it. So then, as part of the closing routine, they do the same thing. They count their till by denomination. Then the system will then show the over and shorts. The system will do the math and show them where they're deficient. The reason, as in not just a reason code, it actually lets you type out the message of why there was a reason, what the reason was for the overage or shortage. So let's talk about how does it work and how we're going to catch a thief doing this. This is a real world example for me that I have done, and I have caught a thief using this. So what you do is you add money to the beginning till. If that till is supposed to have $50 in it, you, with a witness, add a couple of fives, a couple of extra money, maybe $10, 20, certainly not much, too much more than that. But just add a little bit of money to the till with a witness so that you now know that it is over. Then you give that till to the cashier and have them do their normal counting. They still count like they should. They should go up and count their denominations. And then before the till is used, before there's any sales rung in, you do go out and balance that till. And what you're hoping to find is that when you gave that till to the cashier and they saw that there was extra money, that they either left it in the till or turned it into you, turned it back and said, hey, I've got too much money. I'm only supposed to have 50. I had 2 extra fives. Here's that money back. You hope that's what you find. But all too often, that's not it. You're going to go out and balance that till and find that $10 is gone. That they think that you put it in there, that it was left in there by mistake, that you don't know about it, and they're going to take it out and put it in their pocket. That's what happens all too often, and that's what happened in the case where I did the same thing. I added the money to the till, we balanced it, that $10 was gone, and we found us a thief. You needed to then do whatever procedure the restaurant has in place for when you catch a thief. Another way to do this is to balance the till during the day at some unexpected time. If this is an 8-hour shift, balance it 2 hours into the shift. Balance it 3 hours into the shift. Give them a little time to do their thievery, and then go in and balance it unexpectedly. What you want to do then is witness the blind balancing routine and look for those overages and shortages. Something that we talked about this morning in our team meeting was the fact that sometimes you catch them with too much money in the till, where they're $20, $30, $40 over. And how does that happen? How is it the fact that they're not short? Well, here's the reason. The best place to hide money that you're stealing is in the cash till. It's the worst place is in their pocket. They wait until the end of the shift, and at the end of the shift, they then remove that money out of the till that they have been hiding there during the day. That's how they get away with it. They don't hide it in their pocket, they hide it in plain sight in the till. So they have different methods that they will use to keep up with how much money they need to take out. That's cashier stacking is what that's called. I have another video on that, on how to catch a thief with cashier stacking. I'm not going to do that right now, but just know that if they have too much money in there, that's also a thief. Some of the ways that they will do that is that it doesn't take long for a cashier to know how much a number one combo is. And so they will get that number one combo, give that food to the customer, make change out of the drawer. And now, since they didn't ring that up, then they have too much money in the cash drawer. This happens a lot. Another way that they can do that is, which is another one very common, is through a drive-through, is they don't give the right amount of change back. Think about how that you're in a drive-through and you're in a hurry. So when it comes time to pay, they just hand you the money back. They don't count it to you. And you just throw that coins or change into a bin or something in your car, and you go and get your food and get out of there. You don't count it. So it depends on how thieving this person is. They could be stealing dimes, quarters. They could be shorting you a quarter. They could be shorting you $1. Sometimes they'll hand you the change and the food at the same time. They'll stick them both out the window. You're going to take that change. You're not going to count it. You're just going to throw it in the bin in your car, and then you're going to take that food and you're going to drive off. If you then balance it later on, it's too late. You've already been shorted. That's how a cashier to drive-through steals, is they don't give the proper change back to the customer. Hopefully, now that I've told you this story, you're going to now be counting the change every time you go through that drive-through. But that's a good way for them to be stealing. So what you're going to do is you're going to, now to catch that thief, you're going to balance during the day unexpectedly, and you're going to witness the blind balancing and find that they're either over or short. So now let's set the settings. So you're going to go into the cloud back office. You're going to go to settings, store config. Then you're going to go to financial config. Then you're going to go to the cashier tab. You're going to scroll down to the cash count options section, and you're going to enable the cash count feature. So those are the steps. Now, I'm going to pause now for questions, and then we'll get into the actual usage. So do you have any questions? Yeah, Doug, whenever you are doing the cash out, you want the person, the cashier or the bartender, you want them being the one that's doing the counting. You just want to supervise. You want to just watch them over their shoulder so that they don't have a chance to pull money out. You want them to balance, and you're hoping that they're balancing correctly. You want them to balance to as close to the penny as possible. But in reality, if you've got a thief, they're going to be one way or the other. They're going to be over or short, and you want them to be the ones doing the counting. So what I've got is my database for my coffee shop. I'm going to clock in. I'm going to go to the cashier area, bottom left here on my screen. And if this is the default, this is saying, I'm just going to put in, I'm going to have $50 as my cash in. Now that's the default. That's how you do it if you don't have all this turned on. So when you run your cashier report at the end of the day, it's going to show that you have $50 in the till, but no sales have been run up. So when you cashier out or sign out, there's no counting. You're just done. That's the default. Now I'm going to go back now and I'm going to make those changes in the back office. And here you go. So we're going to go to settings, store config, financial config. And when you get there, you now have these tabs: taxes, tenders, integrated payments, end of day, and I'm going to go to the cashier tab. Now there are other features here that I'm not going to get into at this time. I'm going to scroll down to cash count options. The default is no. So enable cash count feature, the default is no. Once I click yes, then it opens up to all the features. First thing you have, the default is, here are the denominations that you're going to count. We go up to 100. So you have all these that are defaulted. Change them if you wish, but that is the default is all the American currencies. Cashier sign in cash count. The default is disabled, but you can make it optional or required. I prefer to do it with required. Then you have the cashier sign out. Also, its default is disabled. I make it enabled and required. Cashier sign out cash count hints. Now, if you have this turned on, it's going to then give you little dollar or little amounts that you over each one of the currencies. I'll just turn it on and show you what it looks like. I don't like it. I want this to be totally blind, but this actually gives them hints of how many of each denomination there should be in the till. Cashier sign out on hand cash over discrepancy reason prompt. So if default is disabled, I put it as required for our training today. In the cashier sign out on hand cash reason prompt, yes, default is disabled. Now you have the same options for a server, so you can force the servers to cash in and out. Generally in server banking, you don't have to worry about that because it's hard to steal from a server bank. They bring their own bank. You ring up their sales as during the day as their sales are accumulated. We know how much cash they should have in their bank. It's generally not a high theft, or it's very low theft. I don't turn it on for this training, and I don't know how much I'd use it in the real world. But it is here if they do desire to do a server bank. Now, all that's done, I hit save. Now I have all that turned on at the point of sale. So now let's go back to point of sale and look how different it is. All right, we're going to sign back in, go to my cashier. And now I have a different screen. So this is now the prompting for the cashier to put in how many of each denomination they should have. So I'm going to look at how many pennies. I'm going to say I have 25 pennies. How many nickels? I'm just counting the nickels. I'm not doing 5, 10, 15, 20. I'm just putting in, I have 20 nickels. So as you go through each one of these, you now have your denominations are starting to show in increment, because right now I've got $6.25 in the till. Let's see here. 4, 7. How many singles do I have? How many 5s? And then how many 10s? Now I have $50 in my till. I can start my day. So now I ring up. Whatever I ring up is going to now increment to the cash for every cash sale that I make. At the end of the day, when I'm done my shift, I go back as a cashier to my cashier area, and there's my cashier report that's going to show my sales. Now to sign out, I get that same screen. So there are the hints of what should be in my till. I'm just putting random amounts in here, knowing that I'm going to be off. So now I know I'm 10 cents short. What is my reason code? So there's the difference in signing out with the cashier blind balancing turned on. So let's see what kind of questions we have now.
So one of the questions we have is, if you have a bartender that has open tabs, do they need to cash out to see the balance in the drawer and manage the 1s and 5s and 10s and see the report? And the answer is you most likely would either want to transfer their orders that are open to another user and go through the cashier out process. That's the best way to be the most accurate in that type of situation. And then of course you can transfer the orders back, no problems. But that would be the most accurate method. Obviously you can go to the cashier report, see how much money is supposed to be in there, just cash, manually do it that way. That would prevent you from needing to transfer those orders. And whichever method works for them is great. We're looking at how to go count those or catch those people.
Yep, this is used to identify the problem, and then the owner of the restaurant or bar needs to take action. This is just identifying the problem. So yeah.
So it's asking, does the bartender see that they're short when using this method, Jerry?
They did. They do get to see they're short at the end, or over. It gives them either way. Doesn't lock them. I guess maybe that's another way to look. I've seen systems that do that don't show them. I kind of like this one. I like the way that we do it here. The reason being is that it does identify the problem, but it doesn't lock them out of doing their end of day. There are systems that will absolutely lock them when they are not accurate or not within a certain range. So I like the way we're doing it.
And then somebody's asking, can the tabs be left open for weekly billing? You can switch tabs between parties.
Yeah.
So you can still be till accountable and not have to close those tabs.
Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, then I'm going to consider this subject taught and you understood it. And I hope you use it so that you can help your operators and owners identify and stop the theft. That's really what point of sale is supposed to be, is theft deterrent. So I appreciate everybody coming out. We had a good class. I appreciate your participation. And to